Welcome to Out to Lunch. WRMN. That's WRMN 1410. My name is Dennis O'Dar Green, and I'll be walking you through the next 2 hours here on WRMN, because that's what we do every day, Monday through Friday. Right here, we open up the phone lines. We open up the chat lines. All of the different ways that you can reach us, including the new message line. That's right, you can text us now. And why do we open these things up? Well, because we've got some cool friends here at the radio station. We've got some great ideas floating around the community, and we want to make sure that we have a place to highlight those things and those people and those ideas. Free speech isn't just about saying the same thing over and over and over again. It is about also listening to some of those speeches and some of those people's ideas. Please, please, please gather as many ideas in the world as you possibly can. One of those ideas, one of those amazing people, one of the new shows that are coming here to the station, that would be Court's CD Showcase. And I have with me the man, the myth, the legend himself, Court. Hey, thank you very much for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, this isn't the first time. This isn't the first time you've been on the 1410 airwaves. No,
I was on back around 2006 to 2011. Some of you may remember the holiday edition of CD Showcase I did on Christmas Eve for about 4 hours in 2009, 2010, and 2011. Had a blast. Those shows playing all sorts of Christmas music and holiday music. Some of the stuff that you don't hear on radio much anymore. So yeah,
Last Christmas has seemed to really taken off.
Yes,
I don't know why. It's like
I'm not
we need
sure why
something
either.
fresh, so let's just pull something like it was scraping the bottom of the barrel for it. But it's not necessarily scraping the bottom of the barrel for you, sir. It is more about nooks and crannies.
Yes.
I think is more about the better way to describe it, because you have such a cornucopia of music knowledge, and not to the point of like the world that surrounds music, but the actual music itself, to where you can turn around and say, yeah, there was an oboe in this song, but you also know a really cool song that's got an oboe. It's this one over here too. So that's what I'm looking forward to with listening to your show on Saturday evenings.
Yeah. One of the things I love to do is play the tunes that you don't hear much on the radio anymore. You know, a lot of stations play the number ones and then ignore somebody's number 10 hit or something like that. I like to dig a little deeper and play some of the other tracks that didn't get as much airplay, that still bring back memories, even if the whole world has forgotten.
There you go. And this is something that I want to kind of pick your brain as a musical connoisseur as yourself, is the concept of the album and how that has evolved with digital media and the singles and everything else as it's moved through. I know singles were always around to begin with, but are people writing albums anymore that complement themselves? Like the songs within the album are an actual group and say, here you go, here's my collection? Or is it more of like, we've got the singles, maybe we've got one hit single, maybe two that are okay, and then we just got to fill the rest of it just to hit our 10 songs? I
see where you're going with that, and I would say it's a little bit of both, actually. I mean, I see some artists out there still working to do a full album and make it a full package, as you noted, but then there's also some that not necessarily are looking for that. They just want a one big hit that'll get their name out there, and then that way they can share other stuff. So I think, at least in my opinion, it's a little bit of both, actually.
Yeah, I look at it like Do you know the story around the Friends song?
A little bit of it, yes. Was not big into the show, but yes, I do know a little bit of it. Yes.
So I guess the premise of it was that they only wrote the chorus,
right?
And then everybody was like, "Where can we get the rest of this song?
Yes.
Who wrote it? Where is it? And all of that." But there wasn't the rest of the song.
Right.
So that premise to me is where I think people are kind of exploding with this TikTok phenomenon too. Is they're writing a hook, and because the videos are only maybe 60 seconds long at the most, they only have time for that hook.
Right.
And what they're doing is they're testing the song by putting it as only a 60-second hook, maybe AI generated or maybe just simple lyrics or something that just kind of seems to hook onto it, because that's what it is the hook.
Right.
And then they're piecing the rest of the song together.
Yeah.
Good or bad, Court?
Gosh, that is such a tough question to answer.
It's a different way to make the sausage.
I mean, I don't really know how to answer that, because it can go both ways.
Okay.
I mean, if you've got a good hook and you can build around it and build a successful song around it, then yeah, it's great. But if you have a hook but don't really have an idea of where you want to go with it, not so much. And you mentioned the Friends song, and a couple other TV themes that I remember from my growing up years that I didn't realize were full songs. Facts of Life, the theme to Facts of Life, and the theme to Golden Girls.
That's a full song, yeah.
That's a full song. Both of them are full songs, and I had no idea at the time.
Wow. That's actually pretty neat to think about, is like, what is a full song, what isn't? Because, I mean, even in our industry, in radio, we still use the hooks or the beginning of an intro or something like that. I mean, with copyright being what it is now in this amoebus type of thing, we try to stay away from some of that. I mean, I'm always going to play my Space Hog anytime I can get, but my question of the future of music is this is what Blues Traveler was talking about, where it is the hook. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what song it is. It's always the hook that brings you back. You want to grow. You want to be more sophisticated. But at the end of the day, we are just monkeys that like jingles.
Right.
I mean, why do you think it's commercial jingles that get stuck in your head more than anybody else?
Some of them you don't want stuck in your head, too.
That's very true. Are there any commercial jingles that have gone bigger than just the commercial itself?
I can't think of any jingles offhand, but the Where's the Beef that Wendy's had back in the day, that kind of took off. That really wasn't a jingle, but it was, a catchphrase that they then built around. I can't think of anything offhand that it leaps to mind that
the hook is
what like that.
Is where I'm after with this. That let's catch you with something real quick and then to fill the rest of the time for it. So we're going to talk to Court for the rest of the hour here, and we're going to go over some great albums that you like, what we can expect from your show, and a little bit of your history with WRMN.
Sounds good.
Feel free to jump in at any time there, audience. I told you could. Here's how. That is 847-931-1410 to jump into the phone line. And the text line is 505-926-1410. You can leave a message on that message line as well if you have trouble with the texting with the buttons and things. That will then convert it back into text for us. We'll give a shout out to all of the people on the YouTube side of it, like Catherine and the Dutchman sitting already over there on the YouTube side. Oh, YouTube, that's right. You can go to youtube.com/@WRMN Radio. I'll be right back with Court and the Court CD showcase right after this.
America's First Responders Fest, Saturday, September 7th at Panton Mill Park, South Elgin, Illinois. Join us Saturday, September 7th for America's First Responders Fest. The South Elgin event will pay tribute to veterans and all first responders. This year's event includes Rapid Response 5K and Fun Run starting at 10 a.m. The festival hours are 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We'll have first responder stage tributes. There will be a classic car show from JP Car Shows. Live bands featuring Deacon Frost, Rick Lindy and the Wild Ones, Jimmy Nick, and the Junkyard Groove. We'll broadcast live right here on WRMN 1410 and at WRMN Radio on YouTube. There will be food and beverage trucks, kids' activities, and market-style vendor booths. For more information and updates leading up to the event, please visit afrfest.org. Again, that's Saturday, September 7th. For more information, visit afrfest.org. That's America's First Responders Fest, Saturday, September 7th at Panton Mill Park, South Elgin, Illinois.
Wow, it's here, the Kane County Fair, July 17th through the 21st in St. Charles. It's fun for everyone. Grandstand thrills, pro champion bull riders, demo derby, music on the Middle Light Soundstage, classic car show, and more. Always free parking. Kane County Fair, July 17th through the 21st in St. Charles at the Kane County Fairgrounds. Visit kanecountyfair.com. Wow, it's here, and it's fantastic. Brought to you in part by Ascension St. Joseph Elgin and Ascension Mercy Aurora and Miller Lite.
By love of food and wellness, Mockingbird Bar and Garden of East Dundee encourages you to eat seasonal and clean while still indulging a bit. Whether food is served fresh or wood-fired, nothing is overcomplicated. Mockingbird Bar and Garden promises to give your palate something delicious and new and aspires to be a hive of buzz and activity. Start your weekend with an espresso or complement dinner with wine, specialty cocktails, or craft beer. Visit mockingbirdbarandgarden.com today.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. Fake sneakers, fake cosmetics, and even fake pills. Crooks are selling counterfeit versions of just about everything. Last year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products were sold in the U.S. Sure, it may seem like saving a few bucks on the things you want isn't a big deal, but counterfeits are usually made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you've paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals and may support child labor, drugs, and even gangs. Smells like big crime to me. So if you still think buying fake products is harmless, think again. And remember, if you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart, buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention Council.
Is it noon already? Take your lunch hour up a notch with Out to Lunch from 12 to 2 p.m. right here on WRMN 1410 a.m. Unwind with the perfect blend of soothing sounds and lighthearted conversations that'll make every bite taste better. Whether you're in office or out on the town, let us serve up the best in radio company. Stream on the go with our app on Google and Apple. Because lunchtime is your time. Out to Lunch every day from 12 to 2 on WRMN 1410 a.m., the talk of the town.
From morning coffee to your evening commute, WRMN 1410 AM is here for you. The faithful friend that brings you local news, timely topics, and the friendliest voices in the Valley. Stay informed, entertained, and engaged with our full lineup of shows, streaming all day, every day at WRMN1410.com or on the WRMN app. Wherever you are, we're right there with you. So why switch stations? Stick with the one that has it all. WRMN 1410 AM, your daily companion, your constant conversation.
To WRMN. That's WRMN 1410. If you see any other 1410s out there in the world, just know that they're not WRMN. They're this one. This one right here, WRMN, the best 1410. I'm telling you, if you hear another one out there, call them up and say, hey, you're not WRMN. What are you doing here? What am I doing in Albuquerque as well? No. This is it. This is the community of the Fox River Valley, and we like to talk about the community members and people that have been here for a while that are part of the community too. Part of that community and someone who has been here on the station before. Of course, that is Court here, and Court now has Court CD Showcase right here on WRMN. That's starting on Saturdays there, friend. But you've already had your start here on WRMN.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I interned here during my college days, way back when in the mid-'90s. Longtime RMN listeners will remember the name Dee Hubbard. I have an article here with a picture of her in case you don't remember her. She was big on this station. She did the Tradio show at 12:30 every weekday, Monday through Friday. And when I interned here, she welcomed me with open arms, and she made sure that I was not intimidated by anybody else. Other names you might remember from then would be Brad Bolin, who was one of the managers here, and then the two Daves, Dave Weiser and Dave Niven. They were a great pals of mine when I was here in the 2010s.
Yeah, and that is the original soundboard there.
Yes.
And
right
then
here.
That is the upstairs studio, right?
Yes, this is upstairs. This is not here. This is upstairs in the cavern.
And we have so many of those records still sitting around too. But what really made you jump into radio and media was, if I had to guess, it was kind of just like me, Casey Kasem.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
I grew up on country music, though.
Okay.
In the mid-1990s, when I was in college, country radio stations forgot anything existed before 1990. So I started listening to a little other genres and quickly discovered that music, even though the sound of it is different, the lyrics are basically the same. For instance, Michael Bolton's How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? That was a pop hit. Could easily have been on the country charts.
Yeah.
One song that I distinctly remember playing in college was Michael Martin Murphy's Still Taking Chances. It's a country tune from the 1980s. Every time I played it on my college radio show, I got at least one call asking who the new rock artist was. Now, maybe they were joking with me. Maybe, but I kind of doubt it because they seemed really sincere and they were very disappointed when they discovered it was no country artist from the 1980s. So
that is really unique to think about how generations accept the new music and then expect anything that they haven't heard is new.
Right.
Is like, well, wait a minute. I haven't heard this song. It must be a new hit.
Right.
It's like, well, no. There are more songs and artists that came before things that are here. So when you brought up, was it a modern country station, and then you decided to add a little bit more older?
No, actually, it was at college. It was just a college radio station, basically for studying purposes and stuff like that. So I could play anything I wanted, which is what I did. It was a Saturday evening, mostly country music show, is what I called it, from 7 to 10 on Saturday nights in college. And I played everything. I played country, rock. I think I even may have even played a rap song a time or two.
Wow.
And then my senior year, I did start CD Showcase. During the week, they discovered that they had a Monday and a Friday at noon to 1. So I said, hey, I'll do it. I'll call it CD Showcase, be a little different. Because on my Saturday show, back then it was a full studio with CD players, tape decks, and of course, vinyl record players.
Yeah.
So on the Saturday show, I had my vinyl records, still have all of them, 30-some odd vinyl records. So I was able to play that. But then on the Monday and Friday ones, I would just bring in a CD case, and that's why I called it CD Showcase.
There you go. And you plan on still using that medium.
Yes, sir.
For this. So we are setting up the studio here, Studio 14, to make sure that we can play not one, but possibly two CDs at the same time.
Yes.
Look out. Now, everybody's kind of moved to the digital aspect of it, but we're all still using MP3s. So CD quality is what we've all kind of leaned on anyway. Now, we have kind of moved up to the DVD quality of everything, but for the most part, people still use that format of MP3, the 44,100, and the, what was it, the 68,
Something like that.
yeah, or 128 bit,
like that.
bit per second. So that right there is literally, you guys are like, oh no, CDs, oh, I stream on Spotify. Spotify is probably pushing at that same quality
Yeah, I would say so.
that you're listening to on the CD.
Yep.
How important is it to you to keep the hard copy?
Well, these days not so much,
Okay.
but I still have all my collections. This is just a very small sample of what I've got. And back in the day, I loved collecting records, loved listening to the vinyl, and then of course when CDs came around, I switched mostly to CDs, and had a blast listening to those, and always getting a new one whenever I could. So it's important to me to keep what I have. I haven't bought a CD probably in a decade at least, mainly because I can go to YouTube or whatever to pull up a song that I haven't heard in decades and go from there. But I do like keeping my collection of CDs, listening to them every so often. Sometimes I'll play them in the car.
Somebody else who also is a collector of hard copy media, to the point where it's tape, some vinyl.
Yes.
That would be somebody who also has a show here on Saturday afternoons.
Nice.
That would be the man himself, William Pellerinos from Four Corners Radio. Thank you for joining us as well, sir.
I'm just an observer today. I heard about this new show premiering. I had a 2-second introduction to this young man, and I'm a big believer in music therapy. You know,
Amen.
people that have gone through problems. I know cancer patients. In music therapy, people don't believe it. If you're going into a dark place psychologically, you're waiting for results for a biopsy or something, it's just natural. I don't want to use the word depressed, but it's just natural to be bummed out.
Yes.
And I have found, and a couple of my relatives have passed away to cancer this year. I have found, and I was telling them, you can tell them positive mental attitude, but if they don't sit there, if they don't listen to uppity music, and what I mean, like the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys is fantastic. Am I right?
Yeah.
Surfing USA.
No argument there.
You start listening to that, and it really brings you up.
So you're saying listen to something happy, not something sad.
Yeah, not only happy, but really emotionally uppity. And I like the Beach Boys, like Surfing USA.
Yes.
You know, you don't want to be listening to the blues when you're waiting for biopsy results. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's why I'm glad you're doing this music show, and you're doing it live, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I much prefer that live aspect of it because it's so much nicer to have the direct interaction with the
Are you also going to, what I was trying to do on my show, I was trying to do a little arts and entertainment. I wanted to introduce, because of a lot of people, I was telling one of the producers the other day, give me the Doors, and he didn't understand. Let me start off with the Doors intro. Jim Morrison, he was, here's his 35-year-old, he has no clue, L.A. Woman.
Oh,
he has no clue. And a lot of younger people were not introduced to this stuff by their parents, And me and you talked about a month ago on this where we were showing our kids cartoons that we grew up with. We were talking about Scooby-Doo.
yeah.
You know what?
Oh, my
My
gosh.
kids knew, and because of DVDs, and I still have DVDs, I'm not a big fan of streaming, but I still have DVDs. My kids experienced everything on DVD that I grew up with. They knew Gilligan's Island. They knew Bewitched. They knew The Twilight Zone. My daughter in high school took a film study class, and there had to be 60 students, summer class, 55, 60. And the instructor says, does anybody know who Rod Serling is? She looks around. Nobody raises their hand. So she very quietly raises her hand. He goes, yes. She says, Twilight Zone. That's it. But these kids were not exposed. And the big problem is and if you go to YouTube, and I'm a big fan of YouTube, not only just to listen to stuff, but I look at the comments, what people write there. It's their life experience.
Yes, exactly.
Where, there's a song, I don't remember the title, but some of the lines in the song, "We gotta get out of this place." What is that song? Do you know? I think it's the Animals.
That sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Well, anyways, there's a guy that writes a comment. I was in the Marine Corps in 71 in Vietnam, and we were playing all this all the time. That meant something to him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the
Exactly.
Animals.
And that's exactly, I said earlier, I love playing the songs that were not number one hits, because sometimes it's the not number one hits that people really remember, because since they weren't played a lot, it brings back memories of a specific event or a specific person or, whatever. And it'll lift your spirits, because it's like, oh my gosh, it's one of those things where you hear the tune, you start to think back where you heard it, and then you kind of lighten up, because it's like, oh my gosh, you're remembering stuff that you hadn't thought of in maybe decades.
And a lot of these millennials and even older, these younger generations, they only get exposed to a lot of this older music, and I shouldn't say older, let's say 60s and 70s music, by if it's introduced in a film. And I'll give a great example. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think Part 2, play Brandy, You're a Fine Girl. A lot of people never heard that song. The song is from like 1972.
They thought it was brand new.
Huh? They thought it was brand new. To them it is. But it was great for these older, the Guardians of the Galaxy creators are really into this cultural thing. Quentin Tarantino.
That was
you were going to say something.
From there,
he uses older actors, people who never knew who Clu Gulager was. But he grew up with these people.
But he would use songs from like the Coasters and that doo-wop type of older rock, where it pulled into a certain type, because his movies are already granular anyway. So to have something that was recorded on something that didn't have the high fidelity that was there as well, and still had a little bit of tinge to it, or had some of that timbre on that higher fuzzy type of end, especially when you throw in the saxophones and everything else that already have that vibration towards it. When Quentin Tarantino was able to use that to even give us even more chills, because of that brassiness and some of the things that he put. And this is the point I think we're walking through with you, Court, is memory after memory and that therapy aspect of it. Talk about a little bit, Court, about how one song can trigger another song that triggers another song.
My gosh.
And
how much
go
time
from
do you
that
have?
way. Just the concept of it, because we all feel it that way. And explain.
I think the best way to answer that question is to go back to your comment about YouTube. I will, sometimes I will get in my head a song that I haven't heard in a while, that I know that I don't have on CD, and I'll go decide to search for it on YouTube just in case it's there. Of course, I'll find it. And then, of course, YouTube has this little neat feature where it says you might also like this and this and this.
The algorithm will start suggesting.
And so many times, finding that one song, on one of my road trips, I heard a song, Judy Rodman, Girls Ride Horses Too. It was from the 1980s, country song from the 1980s. And I played that one on YouTube when I got home, and it brought up another song by Jim Glazer called You're Getting to Me Again. And then another song by Jim Glazer, Man in the Mirror. And the Man in the Mirror, I hadn't even thought of since I was a kid when I'd heard it on the radio. It wasn't one of his top ones, but then I heard it on YouTube and I was like, oh my gosh. I remembered, when I heard it. Another great example of a song that you hear and you think of one moment every single time, Convoy by C.W. McCall.
Yeah.
There is no C.W. McCall.
Yes.
That was like 3-4 people, and they just used that name.
Oh,
You
really?
know, yeah, so you don't know the
I didn't know
backstory.
that. No.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Convoy, right?
That was
the
in the 70s. There was a big country and western, and my father used to listen to WJJD radio.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Does that bring
station.
back memories?
Oh my gosh.
In the 70s.
Holy cow.
Yes.
104.3, as I recall, right?
That had to be, I was in grade school. That'd be mid 70s, 75, 76.
Right. I want to say that was 104.3, wasn't it? Back in the
I
day,
don't remember the
WJJD,
number.
I think.
But
Anyway.
but I remember the car. He had this convertible in there. The heat was terrible. We're freezing. I'll put down WJJD. What does that have to do with the heat in the car in January? But Convoy was a big hit.
He wanted you to dance. That's
Yes.
what it was. It was
Convoy.
too cold, so you got to start dancing.
Yeah. But a lot of people know a lot of these artists. There was no artist. It was a conglomerate, you know.
Yep.
But that was a pseudonym. Yes, but he hit a nerve with that because
Yes,
that was
he
the
did.
big 70s was a big trucking time. CB radios, Hello Good Buddy, Convoy was a movie, made a movie, Smokey and the Bandit, and
Don't forget Teddy Bear, the song Teddy Bear.
no,
That
BJ
one.
and the Bear. You're thinking?
No. BJ and the
TV.
Bear was TV.
Yeah.
The Teddy Bear song, and I can't think of
Oh, it was a
the
song.
name of it. It was a trucking song by Red Sovine.
Interesting.
Can't think of the name of it now. But anyway.
You got me in that one.
Yes.
Teddy Bear.
Back to Convoy, though. Every time I hear it, I think of a night my mom, dad, and I were headed to Pennsylvania in my parents' 76 Monte Carlo, and I was in the back seat. And it was back then, Dad had managed a city softball team on Friday nights, so we would drive back to his hometown area in Pennsylvania on Friday nights to spend the weekend or whatever. And one Friday night, I remember late night, and that song came on the AM radio because that car only had AM radio back then. You know, there was a time when there was no FM radio in cars. And that song came on, and there was headlights coming through the back window. I thought, keep in mind I was a kid, that we were in the middle of that convoy.
That's it.
I remember that every single time it even starts.
When as a kid, I always thought any three trucks that kind of looked similar were part of that convoy, or like they were just lined up in that way. And so like there was that, and then you said there was the Teddy Bear from
that
Red
was
Sovine.
Well, you know what? And that one may not be the name of it.
He's got one called that, 1976.
What were his other ones? Because there was a couple other ones.
Phantom.
Yes,
309.
Phantom 309.
Yeah.
That one too. Yes,
That's a good one.
yes.
And
you do know
that's
that.
like
you
a
do
ghost
know.
story.
Yeah.
And Convoy was cool because that song itself was more about the chorus. We're talking about the hook on that, and then
Yep.
the story behind it. And then everybody was like, "We got a great big convoy!" Like everybody could jump into it.
And they used CB lingo. They had bears in the air. Bear
Yes.
was the lingo
Yes.
that truckers used for the police.
Yep.
There wasn't actually no bear.
bears and meat wagons and lot lizards,
And of course,
all
they
kinds
called
of stuff.
L.A. was Shaky Town,
Yes.
and then Tulsa Town was Tulsa, Oklahoma. And they had, I can't remember what all towns they mentioned, but they always had some sort of nickname for it. As
Let
they
me
went
ask
through
you,
it.
on your new show, are you going to break down these songs? Are you going to analyze them?
No, I just like playing them.
And you're
I
going to.
do, and one of the things I did not bring, and I had made a note myself to bring it, and I didn't. I've got a book, and not for the rock songs, but for the country songs. I've got a book that lists every artist, every song that they've done, when it debuted, how many weeks it was on the charts, and its peak position. So I love to give that type of stuff, and also it has biographical. I can say that.
Biographical.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay.
Information on each artist. So I'd like to give a little bit of that, like John Conley. If anybody knows that name from the countryside, John Conley was actually a mortician before he became a singer. So I love to give those little type of details.
Let me interrupt here. Just so I understand the concept, because when does your show, when does it premiere?
This Saturday, July 13th, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on Wrmn.
7 p.m. I'm on at 12 to 1. I'll give you a little promo on it,
Okay, good. Thank you.
just so people know, because not everybody's listening to radio all day long.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what I like to do, I like to go home at night, and I got this station on my iPad, and I listen to it at nighttime. I start usually with Coast to Coast around midnight, and then it glides into the morning shows with Mac over here.
Oh, Marky B.
Yep.
Marty B. So, I listen more and more. This station has become more and more varied programming. You've got different types, and I'm glad we have a music show going now. I was really impressed when I walked in here today.
Thank you.
I'm glad, and it's really improving the weekend schedule. We have to update that weekend schedule,
Yeah, it's there.
It's there?
Yeah.
Everything's
it's
updated?
right there.
Good.
WRMN 1410. If you go to here, let's see. I can even pull it up on the website right now. If you go over to WRMN 1410 from the homepage, scroll down from there, and you'll see weekend lineup. You guys have your own page, your own button. You push that button, ready to go. We're also working on the Meet Our Hosts. All the hosts will have a picture and a biograph on that side. And then what we're working on doing from there is to make sure that all of our shows have those pages as well. So we're growing steadily as we move through everything. And you're right, we are trying to add more content for everybody.
Variety.
Exactly. So even then, our wonderful program director gave us another show that we're working on right now, and it's called Our American Stories. And it's a bunch of stories that are focused all about American ventures and different things that we've done as far back as the Revolutionary War, all the way up to, I listened to one of them about pro wrestling. So it's really neat variety, like you were saying. And so we're testing out some shows. If you have a suggestion for a show that would be perfect for the station, you are more than welcome to email us at any time, info@WRMN1410.com. Those emails go directly to Dean and I, and we'll pass them along to program directors and everywhere for there.
And the nice thing, if you don't have a weekly show like you're popping up or my weekly show, and somebody wants a topic, we can always address that topic on your show out to lunch.
Absolutely. Out to lunch.
We have
like
such a wealth of information here. Me, I'm in, like you, we're old timers here.
Yep.
So we could go back into the 50s, 60s, 70s for culture or events, literature. But, for the newer stuff, people listen to this on the radio all day long, the Spotify. I'm not a big fan of Spotify. I mean, it's nice, but I'm not a big fan of it,
Right.
I like listening to talk radio, and I don't listen to politics. I leave that for WGN and WLS, but I like information, and like you put out, and sometimes on your Out to Lunch program, you've got different guests that put out different types of eclectic information. It's nice to know. And
exactly. Yeah, Out to Lunch, we want to have a buffet of content, right? We want to make
no
sure.
Pun intended.
No pun always intended, sir. We've got Cleveland Dennis on the phone right here. Thanks for jumping in with us, sir.
I like the topic today.
Oh, yeah? Some music? Hey, what kind of music memories do you have, sir? What came to mind when we were talking about Convoy and Phantom 309? Do you have a Western?
I know them all. I got them on my Shazam.
Shazam! Look out!
Look out now.
He charges it next to his Zune, and
Yeah, but here I'll give you a quick synopsis. I've been collecting records since the mid '60s.
CD or wax?
Mid '60s. There's no CD. No wax. Then CDs came in. I got a few, but you know what? I got those oldies. I got the albums. I collected quite a bit. I have them. I don't know, Raleigh James on WGN, who does the 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. expert show. She says they're not worth nothing. You know what they are to me? They're worth $1 million. I got $1 million memories there, but I could tell you this. Just for Father's Day, I requested The History of Rockabilly. I got that book. You know,
Nice.
I love that music lately, but I did rhythm and blues. I listen to shows. I listen to radio shows. David Washington, who belongs in the R&B Hall of Fame, he inducted me as a part of the Soul Clan up there because I call in and I'm somebody that knows that business or that music like Motown and related out of Detroit.
Are you?
Please listen to CKLW across the lake from Detroit to Cleveland. But am I what?
Dennis, are you a fan of the older DJs as well? See, I grew up on Casey Kasem and Rick Dees, but what about Wolfman Jack and a bunch of those other guys?
Those guys were national DJs, and they had the shows on the weekend, and but I, used to listen to air checks, but it seems like the air checks, they put them away now, and you got to pay for them. Of DJs or local radio stations all across the U.S.
If you grew up in the 70s here, the king of radio was Uncle Larry Lujack.
Larry Lujack.
I mean, he had a huge following, huge, and a lot of imitators of this guy. But I could say he was the pioneer for Chicago, maybe mostly rock or pop rock.
Well, and then you also had Lynn Bramer.
Who?
Lynn Bramer, who just died about a year or two ago. He was on XRT.
Yeah, and in the early 80s, Bob Stroud and the Stroud Crowd.
Yep, and on the countryside, you had Nancy Turner.
If I could interject, I grew up in Cleveland. I didn't move here until about 1987, and I think I lived here in the Chicagoland area as long as I lived in Cleveland. But I know the history of Chicago radio as well because all I do is listen to the radio while I work.
Nice.
There you go.
Well, if you came in the 80s, you probably remember Jonathan Brandmeier. Does that ring a bell?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, and Steve Dahl and Gary Myers and all them. But, hey, you guys are talking about records and record collecting.
Yeah.
I got them, too, and I could tell you, I do listen to radio shows. Recently, I follow a guy who you record collectors want to notice. He comes on the country station out of Virginia and Tennessee, Bristol, that he has a show. He's originally from Kansas City, but he's out of Cleveland. He goes and collects old country music and plays them for 1 hour, and it's knockout stuff. That's the kind of stuff I dig. Anyhow, I listen to WMSC out of Milwaukee, the Milwaukee School of Engineering, 2 to 3 hours of rockabilly on Friday morning, and it goes on and on. But when is this gentleman going to be on this weekend?
Saturday nights, 7 to 9.
What's the name of the show?
Well,
CD Showcase.
CD Showcase.
There it is.
Yep.
And you're live. Can people call in?
I haven't decided yet. Maybe. We'll see.
Well, how about, are you going to be on YouTube? You could get messages on
I will
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on that.
We're working on that. Okay, I'm not going to ask no more complicated questions.
No.
I'll have an email. I've got an email, court@cdshowcase.com. That's the email that I'll have set up, and I'll have my laptop, of course, so I can check in, check email during the show.
So it will be on YouTube.
How do we spell court?
How do you spell court?
CORT.
Oh, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Now, I got one thing, and then I'll leave it.
Okay.
But I sent a text across on the YouTube. Did you guys see it, Dennis? Sonar.
Yeah, I see. Let's see here. 10 years.
Well, but here's
Zephyr.
my point.
Mm-hmm.
The court said, hey, he was looking for records. I looked for a record for 10 years at the advent of the Internet. It took me 10 years to find She's Lost You by the Zephyrs.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Well,
Nobody knows, see?
We do have a nice record store here in town, Rediscover Records. Have you been there?
I go there. I'm
Nice.
wearing their T-shirt now. Wish you could see
Nice.
Hey,
So you know Rich then, right?
Well, I know the owner, but I don't go in there and buy records except on that one big record day every year.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, very good.
Well, thanks for checking in, Dennis.
Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to participate, but I love the fact that you got these guests on, and I'm just digging the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Hey, Cleveland Dennis jumping in. Collectors of all kinds of things, right? Especially media collectors. So you do movies.
Yeah, I got a lot of CDs, even VHS tapes. I didn't throw away my VHS tapes. There are movies on VHS that were never transferred to CD or Blu-ray. You know, so I'll give you an example. Looking for Mr. Goodbar. It's not available on DVD or Bluray.
Just jump straight to streaming now?
Huh?
Just jump straight to streaming now?
No, they don't even stream it. Every now and then, a lot of, I'm not a big fan of streaming. I'll tell you why. But a lot of, every now and then, if you have cable and or satellite, you have Turner Classic Movies, TCM, they'll play it periodically. They'll play films, and I like that are not on DVD or on streaming. So that's an example. I believe there's a rescue movie, kind of like a what do you call it? A Rambo movie called Let's Get Harry with Mark Harmon when he's kidnapped. Have you seen this movie?
No, I've not seen it. I've heard of it.
He's kidnapped down in South America, and Robert Duvall, Gary Busey. It's one of my personal favorites, but it's only on VHS. You know, but periodically WFLD plays the movie, but they got commercials. So you have these odd movies that people, the average person, what do they know? The Avengers.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what's playing at the theater, Annabelle. You know, they don't know
the
these
classics.
movies.
We were talking about albums earlier.
Yep.
Is there a movie and an album that came together and just took off together with it? If I had to guess, it'd be a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
One of the highest selling albums was the album from the movie Top Gun. All those songs that they put in that album was huge. I remember trying to buy the record. It was sold out at that time.
Wow.
In '86.
Another one that came to mind too was Back to the Future. That franchise had I can't remember, like
Huey Lewis.
I was going to say
Huey
Huey
Lewis.
Lewis in the News. I couldn't think of the name offhand, but yeah, Huey
Power
Lewis
of
in the
Love.
News. That's it. Bingo.
Hey,
I was trying to remember what the song name was, and I'm thinking, I'm going,
What is Power of Love? I'll take movie music trivia for 500.
Yes.
That's great. But even then, like some of those songs and some of those tracks that were just background music for things. Like you look at Star Wars. You could play an instrumental from Star Wars and anybody would be able to pick it right up. Back to the Future was that same way.
Let me tell you a little backstory, man.
Yeah.
I was an assistant manager at a theater in Chicago. It's no longer there. When Star Wars came out in like 75, 76, 77, somewhere there.
yeah, 79 maybe.
I think it was 77. So,
77.
yeah, and we were playing some movies, and it had nothing to do with Star Wars. Star Wars had exclusive engagement, no bargain rates, no early bird special. You had to pay $3.50, which was a lot of money back then, because you went to the movies for $1. So we were showing, I think, the movie House Calls with Walter Matthau and Glenda Jackson. It's kind of a comedy rom-com, you know. And in between the showings, the projectionist had the theme from Star Wars, the John Williams, on reel-to-reel tape.
Wow.
And he kept playing it. I'm hearing it in the theater, and I'm running in there to see Star Wars. And there's no Star Wars, just a blank screen for the 10 minutes between the two films. But it always brings back my memories of that theater experience, working in theater, hearing that Star Wars theme, because I knew the theme before I saw the movie. The movie was out many months before I finally saw it. The crowds are huge. It's like trying to see Jaws. You know, everything was sold out. I'll tell you another movie that was sold out. I remember when first weekend I went to see was Moonraker, the James Bond.
That one I don't remember.
It was a James Bond, Roger Moore, and it was huge. And they had scatter seating only. I couldn't sit with my girlfriend. So I said, I'm not going to it. So the next night I went with my buddies. We're not going to be able to sit together. So we went and saw it. So I saw, but it's your film experience. That's what I like about YouTube. You put on a video or something, and you look at the comments, and these people talk about their life experiences with these songs or movies, and that's what I enjoy.
That's what it's about, at least for me. I mean, you play a song.
I'm not catching. Get speaking to my.
Oh, sorry. And I what I love doing is playing songs that maybe I don't necessarily like, but I know somebody else out there will be like, oh, I remember that song. I was driving along Route 66 and it came on in the middle of the day or whatever the memory is. They may love it. I may be going, okay, I like this one, yeah, sort of. But it's sparking a memory for somebody else. And
But
that's
that
what
next
it's about.
song will trigger for
Yep.
you too. And
Yep.
and that's really what
Amen.
it is. We all have that song. We all have that amazing summer that we were like, man, this song came out and this was what I was doing and it was the happiest time that I've ever had, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not just that shot of adrenaline and endorphins and everything else
Right.
that you're getting. You're time traveling.
Yes.
You're coming
Reminiscing.
back
Exactly.
right into that. You're
Yes.
set in there. You close your eyes and you're sitting in that lifeguard chair again. You're in the back seat of that car that your girlfriend had because she could drive and got her license before you did, or like there's so many different memories.
Maybe
that only
you had too
have.
many speeding tickets
Maybe I
and
did.
couldn't
It's
drive.
true. I was definitely that kid.
Are we talking from personal experience
Sure.
here? Okay.
But what
Just
I'm
checking.
saying is we all have that one thing of like, that was the year that I did this, and this song was the one that was there for it. And when that hits, it's like lightning.
And for me, it's more than just one. I mean, you know, I've told people this many times that if you were to ask me, what's your favorite song? I'd have to say, well, how much time do you have? Because I don't have a favorite song. I don't even have a favorite artist. You know, I've got artists that I prefer, like Ronnie Millsap and some of the older ones. But it's not necessarily about a favorite. It's about how the song made me feel. I remember I drove Route 60.
Hold that for just a second.
okay.
We got 30 seconds
Okay.
left in this hour, but we're going to come back.
Okay, good.
With Court,
Okay.
Music Master, and then we've also got Bill Pellerino's here.
We have
Movie master.
150 years of music knowledge.
There we go.
I brought the geeks today.
There we go.
So call in 847-931-1410. We'll be right back after the news.
I think we're showing.
When Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL, opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 1 o'clock.
With your AM 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Linzess. Kids who love trains will love the Bumblebee Express train ride at the Gail Borden Public Library, taking place from 2 p.m. until 5:30 p.m. this Friday at the Gail Borden Public Library, 270 North Grove Avenue. In Elgin, a significant investigation underway following a shooting incident involving an off-duty police officer near the intersection of Walnut Avenue and National Street. The event, which occurred around 4:35 p.m. on July 8th, prompted a large response from local law enforcement. No Elgin police officers were involved in the incident, the Kane County Major Crimes Task Force taking the lead on the investigation. In Elgin, authorities are currently investigating a recent incident of reports of gunfire in the 700 block of Bent Ridge Lane. Police were called to the scene around 10:45 a.m. on July 8th following reports from local residents who noted hearing what they believed to be gunshots the night before around 10 p.m. The Elgin Police Department urging anyone with information to come forward regarding this incident. With your AM 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan.
Welcome to Staples, young man.
Tomorrow's my big day.
Big day?
First grade.
Aw, well, Staples has crayons, markers, glue.
I need a laptop.
Oh, yeah, sure. With Staples Hot Deals, you can save up to $300 on select PCs for school.
Wait. The finances are Mom's department.
Right.
I'm looking for performance, like a Core i7 processor.
Boy, first grade has really changed.
Tell me about it.
Save big on tech for school with super low Staples Hot Deals. Right now, get up to $300 off select PCs at Staples. Ends 8/24.
At Progressive, we know money can't buy happiness. But money did buy your boat, where you find peace fishing, unlike at home with 3 teenage daughters. Because fish never argue about who stole whose crop top, or get mad the other fish used up all the hot water. No, they just swim around, never embarrassed to be seen with you in public. So save money by bundling your boat or RV insurance with home or auto from Progressive. And buy more happiness, or something close to it. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Blast off! As Circus World boldly goes where no circus has gone before. Feel the big bang as Tina the Human Cannonball flies high.
Defy gravity with an upside-down rocketeer. Perky poodles, soaring aerial acts. Plus, camels, llamas, horses, and ponies orbiting the ring.
Jugglers, zany comedy, and space cadet music invite you to Blast Off! To family fun at Circus World.
Open Book joins the WRMN lineup every Monday from 1 to 2 p.m. Tune in to Open Book with the Gale Borden Library as their team brings you the features and events the library offers. Educational, informational, and timely. Open Book includes the services Gale Borden Library offers, like the summer reading program. That's Open Book every Monday at 1 p.m. with the Gale Borden Library. Brought to you thanks to KCT Credit Union, where your financial well-being is their top priority.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. Big win for the Cubs Tuesday, 9-2 at Baltimore. Jameson Taillon got the win. He's 6-4. He struck out 7 with 4 hits allowed and 2 earned runs over 6 innings work. Michael Busch and Ian Happ homered. Happ's 3-run homer gave Chicago a 7-2 lead in the 4th. Busch had 3 hits, including his 12th homer solo shot. That was the first run allowed by Orioles starter Dean Kramer in the 1st. The series continues tonight. 7-2 Shota Imanaga starts for Chicago. 9-3 Corbin Burns gets the nod for Baltimore. The Twins and White Sox were rained out in Chicago on Tuesday. They're scheduled to play a doubleheader today. The first game, a 1:10 Central first pitch. Bailey Ober faces Eric Fetty. 4:10 first pitch scheduled for Game 2. Drew Thorpe starts for the Sox against Pablo Lopez. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
Summer's greatest hits are going on now, and Macy's one-day sale has summer's greatest savings. Shop limited time specials like 40 to 60% off everything for this weekend's backyard bash. From the Cellar Barbecue, Henkel's, and Tupperware. 40 to 70% off fine jewelry from Effie, Levion, and more. And 30 to 55% off bras, pajamas, and more basics. Hurry in. Our one-day sale starts Tuesday at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Hi, welcome to Staples.
Hi, my son's teacher emailed his back-to-school list. He needs crayons and a comp book for every subject.
Okay, no problem. With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find super low prices on hundreds of items for back to school.
Oh, now they're saying he needs folders and glue.
You got it.
And markers?
Of course.
Oh, geez.
Can we get a cart, please?
Save big on back to school with Staples Hot Deals. Right now, 24-pack Crayola.
As the Elgin Police Department continues to participate in the Distracted Driving campaign, they wanted to share some tips from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website regarding safe driving. If you are expecting a text or need to send one, pull over and park your car in a safe location. Once you are safely off the road and parked, it's safe to text. Designate your passenger as your designated texter. Allow them to access your phone to respond to calls or messages. Do not engage in social media scrolling or messaging while driving. Are you struggling not to text and drive? Activate your phone's Do Not Disturb feature or put your cell phone in the trunk, the glove box, or the back seat of your vehicle until you arrive at your destination. Remember, the Elgin Police are conducting directed patrols to enforce distracted driving violations. Just drive and stay safe. A message from our friends at the Elgin Police Department and your friends here at WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
welcomed out to lunch here on WRMN. Right here, this is your hour, your time, your showcase. Seems to be the word of the show today. No, thank you, Court. Appreciate that. This is what we're doing today. I've got a few friends of WRMN here. Why are they friends of WRMN? Well, because WRMN is great, and they are two hosts of our Saturday programming. That would be the amazing Court for the showcase, CD showcase. And then we also have Bill Pellerinos of Four Corners Radio.
Four Corners Radio and at 12 noon.
That's it, 12 noon for Bill and new 7 to 9 for Court. Music, memories, all kinds of things for our Saturday afternoon programming. We were just talking earlier about music and how music can just pull those memories out of the abyss and pop you right back into it for there. Mm-hmm. And it can be done with, like Bill had jumped into the conversation with music therapy. Is a really good way to pull it through. Is there movie therapy? There's music therapy. Oh, yeah. Is there movie therapy as well? This is I saw this thing.
I'm not much of a movie guy, but I've got a couple friends who are. Mm-hmm. One actually who was, I should say. He died in 2022. But I've got a new friend now that has been showing me a lot of different movies that I wouldn't necessarily have watched, but I enjoy them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I would say so. And as I was mentioning to you a little bit during the break, there's a few songs that were made into movies, as opposed to where we were talking earlier about how the albums from the movies got as big as the movie. Mm-hmm. Some songs that were made into movies was the aforementioned Convoy. If you remember Jeannie C. Riley's Harper Valley PTA, that was turned into a movie. And more recently, Reba McEntire's hit Is There Life Out There was also made into a movie.
That's great. Have you seen Convoy before?
Which one?
Convoy? You saw the movie Convoy?
I saw it in the 70s. I was working in the theater. I mentioned that earlier. I was an assistant manager in a theater, or Dollar Theater. We played Convoy, stayed a month.
A month.
You know, that was those movies in the 70s, those truck driving movies, those movies like Walking Tall with Joe Don Baker.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
Huge. You know, I remember we couldn't get rid of Deliverance. I mean, that movie played. What movie are we having this week? Oh, we were holdover Deliverance. You know. Sometimes you were stuck
People
with
were still watching it, like
no, the
out?
crowds. You understand? Yeah. Jaws played for 26 weeks. The Exorcist. Wow. You know, you had one movie that sometimes just stayed in those theaters and did not go away and was huge hits. Where the Dollar Theater, we used to change weekly, but sometimes they'd hold it over because it means so much money. Mm-hmm. And next, why have some junk movie that nobody's, an empty theater, Let me tell you something. Back then, with theaters, the theater itself only got 10% of the admissions. The movie companies got 90%. The movie theaters made their money off the concessions, the popcorn, the soda pop. That's why you pay so much. I think the last time pre-COVID I went, I think a popcorn and a soda was like $25.
Oh, yeah. I took the kids out just a couple weeks ago, and it was the three of us, me and two little kids. I mean, how much can they possibly eat, right? It was easily $50-$60 for the entire trip. Like, it was, I don't know.
That's why I buy the DVD, sir. It's cheaper to put it on my big screen.
But the wait, like, here's the thing.
No, they're turning pretty fast.
Is like, I was gonna say, turnaround these days is pretty fast. It didn't used to be that way.
Yeah, okay. You used to wait 9 months when VHS and Blockbuster.
It's true.
Nowadays it's out almost the same week it debuts on the screen.
Just came out on Paramount for streaming. Did Paramount I think Plus, it dropped yesterday, and that was in theaters less than a month ago.
Something like that. I think so.
Yeah, easily. I remember going to a Dunkin's and seeing all of that through.
Let me answer your question from a movie. I don't want to use the word expert, but a movie aficionado like myself. you asked, is there movie therapy? I never heard of like music therapy and art therapy. There is where people need to, de-stress and decompress, and they're going through, emotional issues, and it just calms them down. But I made the mistake one night. I was trying to fall asleep, and I put on Animal House, and I started laughing so hard I was awake the rest of the night. So yeah, you can put in a movie that'll invoke a hilarious emotion out of you, and uppity. Animal House is one of them. We got a call in.
Yeah, let's get to the callers right here. I'm sorry if I've been ignoring you, but we've got somebody right here. John, go ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, John. Welcome to the show.
I'm in a different time zone for the next half hour, but couple of things I want to ask. Have any of you guys heard or seen that a movie has been put to DVD? I mean, legitimately released on DVD, not a recording from like you used to make when you were dubbing VHS tapes. Right. Mm-hmm. A movie called Hot Rods to Hell.
Yes, that's Dana Andrews. I'll answer that, sir. I'll answer that. Let the movie aficionado.
Ding, ding.
Thank you. I'll take 50s movies for 500, Alex. Dana Andrews. I seen that. Him and his family were driving down there terrorized by these dune buggies in the desert. Hot rods in the desert. Am I right?
Yeah.
You are 100% right. And every time Dana Andrews, they had bought a place. They were supposed to buy the place that was like an inn or a hotel or this and that, and then it was all being sold by a bad guy who had the teenagers just hanging out and dancing close to each other and everything else. And there was always references to Dana Andrews' back, and every time he'd have to turn real sharp, people would go, "Oh, my back!" I mean, it was so corny and so indicative, and I think a lot of the reasons for that was it was in color. Mm-hmm. A lot of that hood type of 50s guys come into the local diner and want to fight everybody, and they're in the black jackets, kind of like Fonzie. That remained in black and white, but I've had a hard time finding it. I've looked on eBay a couple of times, and
can I suggest something?
That it hasn't been dubbed.
YouTube is popping a lot of older movies, and they're for free. Yes. With ads, unfortunately. But I think Dr. Strangelove is on YouTube. And the nice thing about that, well, you got to watch YouTube. Sometimes it's just an excerpt for a movie, so you have to watch how many minutes it is. If it's the full movie, they threw it on there. I think I was watching Dr. Strangelove the other day. If you're a Kubrick fan, Paths of Glory with Kirk Douglas. I spend a lot of time on YouTube, and I got the Paramount, I got the HBO Max, I got Disney Plus. I have all that stuff, but I really find myself drifting towards the YouTube movies.
Well, for your physical media, you go to like thrift stores and flea markets. Is there anywhere specifically that you go that you're like, I know that this person or this group is going to have something unique there, or do you just canvas the entire area?
A good guess is Half Price Books. I just bought I just bought some of the older, and I shouldn't say older, more recent James Bonds. I had never added Daniel Craig to my collection. I just was not a big fan of it. I like Sean Connery. But I decided to pick up the Daniel Craigs just to complete my collection. And Half Price had them all. I think I paid like $4 or $5 per DVD, which they were going for 20 something.
They're a lot more expensive back in the day.
Good luck on your search, John.
Yeah, we'll get it done. And just to tip in one thing real quick.
Yeah.
There either is or should be movie therapy, and I can tell you why. I had a friend of mine, considerably older than me, that was in a memory care facility, and they had movies that would play, and there was hardly any interaction between the movie that was on the big widescreen in their hall, then they were just sitting there staring at it. Mm-hmm. I suggested to one of the program directors at the nursing home, I said, if you're looking for a movie that guys don't need to follow hard, it's not a complicated plot, you don't have to have great hearing, put in the movie Rudy.
Everybody likes that one.
Matt Damon. Right? Matt Damon?
No, Rudy's the Notre Dame football player.
Oh. Yeah, but that was actually Jon Favreau's first movie. and it was Patty Duke's son who was playing Rudy, Sean Astin.
It's a good visual movie too. I mean, there's a lot of the scenery and the way that the shots are set up. I mean, I haven't seen Rudy in a while, but some of the architecture that they show off of the campus and some of the shots that they have while he's working there.
John, when I talk about music therapy or movie therapy, you do your own therapy. You know, you don't need an official blessing from a therapist.
Exactly.
Just, if you're looking for laughs and movies geared towards males, I would say Animal House. I'll give you another good one, Used Cars. You ever see Used Cars with Kurt Russell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yep. That, along with Finding Arizona, were the first videotapes I'd ever seen at a VHS store.
Raising Arizona, you're saying?
Yeah.
Raising Arizona. Yeah, that's with Nicolas Cage. That's a good one. But a hilarious, to me, a feel-good movie would be like Caddyshack, Animal House, Used Cars. These actually invoke a laughter out of me.
Cannonball Run.
Well,
yeah, no matter how many times I've seen them. And I don't like watching new movies. I really got to follow late at night because I doze off.
Yeah.
So I watch older ones. And I find for myself when I'm trying to get to sleep, this is just me, I like to put on the black and whites. For some reason, I find the black and whites more soothing. Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart, nice and slow. Maltese Falcon. I made the mistake one time, and I threw on House on Haunted Hill, Vincent Price, and about 3/4 of the way, you start screaming, women screaming, skeletons. Oh, woke me up. Not good. Not good.
Well, I would venture to say there's TV therapy too. I mean, I can think of shows that I love watching, like Friday Night Lights, if you remember that series. You know, and some of the sitcoms from the 70s and 80s, like
and
Different
60s.
Strokes and 60s.
You don't have to think.
Yep,
Gilligan's Island.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think black and white is two easy colors our brain can digest. And we don't need, like you're saying, going to sleep or just trying to rest and collect yourself. I think on the brain, it's easier to digest a black and white production than it is something with a variety of colors. It's just, maybe that's a little too deep for this conversation.
Well, the other thing is I think the cinematography is different too. I mean, if you look at what's produced now, it has changed less than 8 seconds. Look at anything that's going on, unless they are making a point about keeping it long. Just count.
It's moving.
As soon as this shot changes, count, and you will not get to 8.
Right.
Are you talking about quick cuts?
Quick cuts for everything. So
See,
in the black and white side of it, there's a lot more longer shots.
Yeah.
You think about Casablanca. How long did they hold that shot during that conversation?
I'll give you another one. This is a great one. Great black and white. A Touch of Evil with Charlton Heston and Orson Welles. The first tracking shot lasts for, I just a guess, don't quote me on this, maybe 9 or 10 minutes. It's just a long tracking shot across the border from, follows a car from United States into Mexico. And then something happens. And then it follows the characters back. And it has to be at least 10 or 12 minutes, that tracking shot.
I'll argue that most media today is heavily edited.
I don't like those quick cuts.
And that's where I think that stimulation is there, because we deal with these two screens. And thank you, John, for jumping in too. I know you took your answer offline, but part of that, I think, too, is a lot of people are two screening it these days. They throw something on the television, and then they've got a phone that's sitting right there as well, and maybe they're scrolling or reading something or things like that. So it has to be fast. It has to be loud. It has to be, whoa, what was that?
Right.
In there to jar you back into it, instead of, this is a movie, this is a story I want to tell, watch it or don't watch it, this is it.
Right.
Instead of, hey, I'm over here, I'm another child screaming at you. We got more callers as we go here. I do see you there, Cleveland Dennis, but I got somebody on the line up here. It's been a little longer. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hi, this is Roland.
Hi, Roland.
Yeah, Coward of the County, The Gambler.
Yep.
Coal Miner's Daughter.
Oh, my
you go.
goodness, yes. Oh.
Those are all
Those
great.
are some good movies.
Do you like
I
that
mean-
style over there? The that westernish type of style?
No, that's just what I thought of off the top of my head.
Mm.
But I have all these on DVD, too.
How do you like physical medium? We're talking about that too. How does it feel that you know that you've got plastic inside of plastic sitting in your living room right now? That any point the world could end and you can pop it in. Say again?
I mean, if you want to go for comedy, go for some Red Skelton. I have him on DVD, too.
Which one?
Red Skelton.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Milton Berle. I mean, the comics are I think those are about the best. Those will give you belly laughs,
Well, and
just watching these old people perform their routines. Red Fox even was good.
Mm-hmm.
I love comedy.
Of course, you've got Who's on First as well. That old sketch.
Oh, yeah.
I have
Who's on First?
Costello too.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Well, what about like the honeymooners? You're talking about
yeah.
TV therapy.
Oh, my gosh.
The channel to go to is Me TV.
Me TV? Okay.
Yeah. All day Saturday, I think a 2-hour block before Svengoolie, you got Three Stooges.
Mm-hmm.
And and on Sundays, you have Gilligan's Island, Beverly Hillbillies, Mama's Family. You got all those comedies.
That's awesome.
It's one of that Me TV is one of the free over-the-air shows or TV networks that's actually broadcast from right here in Chicago across the nation. Here in Chicago, it's on 26.3, I think, if I remember right. And then you've got other digital stations with similar type of feel-good programming.
Last weekend, they had a Get Smart Marathon on Catch a Comedy Channel. This weekend, it's Mayberry RFD, which was the follow-up to the Andy Griffith Show when Andy Griffith left.
Okay.
So if you've never seen those episodes, you can binge watch this weekend.
What do you suggest we start with, Roland?
Well, like you said, the honeymooners, I like watching the old ones because there's a lot of stuff in there that if you're not really paying attention to, you'd miss. Like the corner of the kitchen. You'll see that open up and you'll see the stagehands back there looking into the set as they're doing their routines.
Well, that's back when they filmed it in front of a live audience as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's back when it was more of a stage production instead of all of the glitz and glamour of TV and everything else. This is where I think we're back to the highly edited aspect of it. We can't get... I'll watch sock puppets with good dialogue, but... And honestly, you can close your eyes with a lot of those and imagine the sets. The visual was just an extra bonus, but they designed and wrote to be audibly stimulating because it was a conversation.
Yeah, but you know what? Back then in the 50s, with the Honeymooners, the 39 original episodes, when it was just starting, a lot of those were filmed out of New York. And the idea of television was really just putting a play on film.
Right.
You had Playhouse 90, you had the Honeymooners, so the sets were very minimal. It was the acting, it was the writing. If we could find some of those archive programs from Playhouse 90, I mean, there's a court-martial film I'm trying to find with Charlton Heston, I don't remember the name of it. And these guys honed their craft on television while they were trying to make movies or get into movies. And for baby boomers like us, it's important to find those episodes.
Thanks for being with us, Roland. You got any final words?
Well, I think that they when they made these original shows, they put them out, they ran the tape, and then they reused the tape. They didn't keep the original episodes. It's just sad that there's so much gone that they didn't bother to keep. You don't just run an episode and then record over it and show another episode on that.
That's the biggest problem with it. Absolutely, Roland. You hit it right there with the problem with physical media. It is physical. I gotta put it somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's gotta live somewhere. It's gotta be stacked up. I need a floor to ceiling case, maybe some shelves. I've got a few of them over here, but that's and to hold it on for 60 years, hold it on for 80 years. That's, I don't know, that's generational physical media. So,
hey, I have albums from the 60s.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yep, that's what I mean. So the longer you can hold on to that physical media, hold on to it, find it, keep it precious.
You
Thanks,
know what
Roland.
my problem with streaming is? 1:45 in the morning, Comcast loses the signal, and I get this spinning circle, buffering, or whatever you want to call it. And for an hour, 45 minutes, I have no internet, and my wife, if she was awake, she's unplugging it, plugging it in. On the weekends is fine, but 2 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, when I'm up and the rest of the world is sleeping, and then I have to, I can't even, you lose internet, all those streamings ain't worth the money you're paying.
Cleveland Dennis is going to jump right in, take us to the bottom of the hour to break. Hey, welcome back in, buddy.
Hear me, Sonar. Listen, when I called before, I was Cleveland Dennis. I'm D. Clyde. D. Clyde is into the movies here with you guys.
D. Clyde.
1972 or so, when American Graffiti came out, I went with my Lithuanian girlfriend that was taller than me, and I'm 6'3.5". We saw that movie, and I go, wait a second. I saw the rear end of a 1968 Chevy, all right? Years later, when I watched the movie, I was at a premiere showing in Cleveland over in Parma at the big theater in a Sunday afternoon in the summer. But they took it and they cut that out. Does anybody recall that? The 1968 Chevy shown in American Graffiti, which was supposedly from the 50s. How about it?
No, I don't remember that. You've seen American.
Yeah, I've seen American Free, but I don't understand the question.
Yeah.
If you don't understand the question, that's because you got too many movies. You guys start talking about movies, you got to have 2 lifetimes to live to do what you want to watch, okay? And there's too much information. But let's go back to used cars, and I'll come back to American Graffiti later. Used cars, I saw that movie, and I'm pretty sure I saw it with my dad, Alvis, A-L-V-I-S, Doc, middle name, and he ran a used car lot. I drove more cars than the most natural human beings. That's all I want to say. High Rods to Hell, pretty sure I saw that at the Memphis Drive-In in Cleveland, Ohio, back in the late 60s with my girlfriend. Different one at the time. Music is therapy. The movies certainly are, but how about this one, Mr. Pellegrino? Am I pronouncing that correct? How about this movie, guys? They Live by Night with Farley Granger.
Have you tried that one?
What's the name of it?
They Live by Night.
Huh?
They Live by Night by Kathy O'Connor. I just watched it recently. They showed it on Turner. I've seen it probably 3 times now, and I will watch it again anytime it comes on because it's just...
I have to apologize. I have hearing aids on. I'm getting feedback. What's the title of the movie?
They Live by Night.
They Live by Night. Yeah, that's with Richard Basehart. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Richard Basehart.
No. Richard Basehart must be a later movie edition. He was from
Farley Granger, Kathy O'Donnell.
Yes.
Yeah, Kathy O'Connell and Farley Granger, and the fellow from Cleveland Heights, a Jewish guy. He renamed himself. It's I forget, like John Silva, but he plays
Howard
the crooks. Howard Silva with a glass eye, and it's just when you understand what actors do. There's like 3 or 4 actors there, maybe 5 in that movie. Outstanding. I'm just suggesting it. Now, music and movies. How about the movie Stand By Me?
Beautiful movie. Beautiful movie. Based on a short story in a Stephen King collection of short stories. And Rob Reiner just made a classic out of that.
Okay, Stand By Me. Correct me if I'm wrong. They also had the song by Spider Turner in there, right?
What's the question?
I think
there's a song by
Question
Spider
is,
Turner in there.
Spider Turner sang "Stand by Me."
I thought
from the mid-60s.
I thought "Stand by Me" was
King.
Who's the artist of it? The original artist?
King. B.E. King.
Huh? B.B. King.
Turner.
Yeah, King. B.E.
No,
King.
"Stand by Me."
Oh, Benny King.
Spider Turner. No. Oh, okay. Stop. "Stand by Me" was Spider Turner in the mid-60s. I'm pretty sure it was in that movie. And my kids, who are about 50 now, all love that movie and that song. And they're from another generation, because you're talking about music in a different generation. But Spider Turner, talked to him personally on the phone because he's always on my buddy at the R&B show up in Detroit every Monday afternoon. Anyhow, I guess I'm going to end up digressing. I love that Roland called in with all those movies. Some of them I understand or dig, but somebody mentioned Orson Welles out of Kenosha. Listen to Kenosha Radio. And somebody also mentioned how their back hurt in the movie, Dana Andrews. Again, saw that movie with the girlfriend, Hot Rods to Hell, and I use the same line, except it's my shoulder. When things aren't going good and things aren't going right, my mom used to tell me, reach for the light, the Coors Light. And I tell them, oh, my shoulder, it hurts. Anyhow.
Well, thanks for being on, Dennis, and we'll look at that that Stand By Me.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, buddy.
You know, the bottom line is, if it works for you, if it makes you happy, watch it. You know, who cares? If you're watching on DVD or streaming it or YouTubing or whatever you're doing, if it works for you, if uppity music makes you happy, if funny movies, Caddyshack, Used Cars, Animal House make you laugh,
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There's another movie that comes to mind on that.
Which one?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
For some reason, I only watch it around Thanksgiving. I don't know the compulsion.
It's a comfort food movie.
But
you know what I mean? Like we talked about
yes.
Back to the Future. For me, it's a comfort food.
Yeah, but I can't watch, say, like July. You know what I mean? For me, that's the traditional. Like here, every New Year's Eve at 11 o'clock, I put on the Poseidon Adventure. When midnight rolls over here, the Poseidon is flipping over. You know, I just time it, and a lot of movies are holiday generated. You know, they say Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, but I watch it at Christmas time. You know, and Die Hard 2 is one of the better sequels. If you're talking about movies, I like both Die Hard 1 and 2. Same thing with Jaws 1 and Jaws 2. Jaws 2 is not a bad sequel.
Well, let's talk about seasonal music and seasonal movies.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
That's the key term.
I think that's what we should look at next. So if you've got one or two, go ahead and hop in. Everybody's been calling on the line. Sorry that I didn't give out the number for all of those other people. That's 847-931-1410. 847-931-1410. You could jump in there. You can also jump into the chat. Dutchman's Wood Shack comes in, says Harrison Ford was driving that Chevy two-door from the movie that Dennis was talking about. We do have another caller sitting on there. We'll play out Benny King, Stand By Me. Right after this, we'll be right here, WRMN 1410. Out to lunch.
If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain.
Special category called Copilot Plus PCs. They have minimum specs plus a chip just for AI. The company unveiling the first Surface devices with the designation, powered by Qualcomm chips, not Intel. One notable AI feature is called Recall. It lets your computer remember everything you do so that you can find files, images, and websites later. More tech news tips on Rich on Tech.
Every Saturday from 1 to 4, right here on WRMN.
Searching for a financial partner that truly has your best interest at heart? Join KCT Credit Union, where they're more than just a bank. They're a not-for-profit financial cooperative. KCT members are owners, meaning profits go back to you in the form of lower loan rates, higher savings rates, and fewer fees. Experience personalized service that puts you first. Become a part of KCT, where your financial well-being is their top priority. Visit kctcu.org. Each account insured up to $250,000 by member's choice. This institution is not federally insured.
Attention all burger enthusiasts and game aficionados. Celebrate a century of excellence at Mott's Lounge. Proudly serving the community for 100 years under 5 generations of passionate ownership. Sink your teeth into our hand-pressed fresh burgers bursting with flavor, crafted just the way you like them. And while you're here, enjoy our exclusive drink specials, perfect for toasting to our milestone anniversary. Plus, challenge your luck with our state-of-the-art gaming machines, adding an extra thrill to your visit. Join us at Mott's Lounge and be a part of history in the making. Here's to another century of great food, fun, and memories. Mott's Lounge, where every visit is a celebration. For more information, visit us online at mottslounge.com.
Discover the authentic taste of Italy at Massiano's Pizza and Pastaria of Elgin. There is one inexhaustible aspect of everyday life that never dulls, namely the simple pleasure of eating and drinking. Massiano's wants to make sure that this is the best part of your day. Visit Massianos.com and sign up to view their special offers all year long. Delivery, carry out, or dine in, enjoy it anyway, because life is good at Massiano's.
Beef Villa's 3 locations offer much more than their signature Italian beef. Try the Italian sausage, roasted chicken, and more. There's a big variety of delicious side dishes. Beef Villa uses quality ingredients from homemade recipes, and they purchase top-of-the-quality food products from their vendors to bring you the absolute best tasting of foods. Beef Villa's great service and quality are waiting for you, but you won't be waiting long because it's always hot and fresh. Visit beefvilla.com.
Let me tell you a story about Bill. Bill was a normal guy in his 50s. He had back surgery about 2 years ago. Bill was in a lot of pain. He dealt with his pain by taking the Percocets his doctor prescribed for him. Bill took more and more and more of them to help with the pain, until one day the prescriptions weren't enough to get rid of Bill's pain. Then one day Bill found someone to help him get rid of the pain with illegal drugs he didn't need a prescription for. Fast forward to today. Bill lost his job and his family. The only thing he does have is his drug dealer. If you know Bill's story and you don't want to end up like Bill, call the Detox and Treatment Helpline right now to get away and get treatment.
800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. Call right now. Help is standing by. 800-694-1127.
Welcome back to WRMN 1410 AM. The best of all of the 1410 AMs out there. WRMN ranks the top. That's right. You know what? I don't know if we did this poll yet, but top men are saying it. Mm-hmm. Really experts. Mm-hmm. I've asked lots of experts about what was the best 1410 that's out there. WRMN comes right up. I don't know what it is. I think it's a regional thing, because I only asked people in the Fox River Valley what was the best 1410.
Yeah, that might be a lot of bias then.
That is. Oh
just
my god.
A little.
I think I need a bigger sample size.
Yeah, you might want to call New York or LA.
There it is, right here, WRMN. We've got 2 of our weekend hosts. They are the geeks. I think I'm going to start bringing you guys in. Do you remember the show on Comedy Central, the Beat the Geeks, where they would have experts come in, and it was kind of like a Jeopardy thing. It was you versus like 4 geeks. They had a movie geek, a music geek, a comic book geek, a tech geek. They had all these, and you had to like beat them. Back when Comedy Central had some good game
That must
shows.
have been late 90s, right?
Yeah, late 90s Comedy Central stuff, back when when Ben Stein's Money was in there and a couple other things. But I think showcasing you fellas, not just on the weekends that we can listen to Four Corners Radio at noon, and we can also listen to the CD showcase from 7 to 9. Maybe bringing you guys over just to kind of have conversations like this about media and going. So anybody who has any questions or anything like that can always send a message over to info@WRMN1410.com. We have a very patient person sitting here on the phone with us. I don't have anything on the caller ID, but let's bring him over. Hello, person. How are you?
Good morning. This is Derek from Australia.
Hello. How are you today, ma'am?
I'm good.
What kind of movies were brought up in the 60s and 70s in the Australian culture? Did you guys also run Jaws for 3 months?
I don't remember back that far, but I'm like 55, so I was around then, but I was only alive from 1969, so I think Man from Snowy River was, that could have been the 80s, but the early 80s, A Man from Snowy River.
And that was a popular one down there in Australia?
Yeah.
Snowy River?
What was the name of the film?
Snowy River?
Yeah, The Man from Snowy River with Kirk Douglas.
Oh, The Man from Snowy River. Okay.
And then they actually made a sequel to that, Return to Snowy River, or Return to the Man from Snowy River.
What's the style for it? Is it a drama? Is it a mystery?
If I remember correctly, it's been decades since I've seen it. I think Kirk Douglas plays 2 roles in it, right? A good brother and a bad brother. Am I correct?
I haven't seen it in a long time either, so probably. Yeah.
How fun is it to play yourself as like 2 characters in the movie?
That's why they're actors. That's why they're stars.
That's so cool to be able to do that. I got 2 roles. They're both the leading roles. I got the leading role and the supporting role.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. You know what? We were talking about Bewitched earlier. People thought when her cousin Sabrina came on, they were looking who the actress was. It was Elizabeth Montgomery.
Yeah, same one.
She flipped. She put a wig on. That's all she did, but she flipped her character. She made her real flighty and careless, and it was that's why they're actors.
But their husband, they kept the same character but swapped the person.
Yes.
You'll watch these personality swap. You know what's a great film on that?
What's
is the sci-fi film Face Off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, and those two actually got to swap personalities. They swap bodies. So the culprit, who was Nicolas Cage, is now in John Travolta's body and vice versa.
That's a fun movie.
You know, that's what they get the big money for, man.
It's true. What kind of music was hitting around in the 80s down in Australia? Was it Americanized music, or did you guys have it? I mean, what, AC/DC, I think so. Australian?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we had AC/DC. There was lots of bands. I mean...
Because the Australian rock scene was jumping around.
Midnight Oil, that was in the 80s. And there's probably lots of bands you may not have recognized or heard of, but
We've got Court the Music Master here. Go ahead and try us.
Well, I will say I have a friend of mine from actually Route 66 circles that lives in Australia, Catherine, who sent me a CD, actually several CDs of Australian country music back in the day, and I still have them. She sent them for me for one of my road trips, and I listened to them on that road trip, and I still have them. Can't remember any of the artists on them, but I do remember some of the songs that not necessarily the names, but that stood out to me, that really connected with me, even though I didn't know them. And, that's exactly why I like playing the ones that were not exactly number one hits, because you never know what's going to connect with somebody.
Were the lyrics any different with it? Because I know a lot of our country songs deal with the pride of America.
Let me ask you a question, because you're better a music aficionado than I am. Wasn't Men at Work an Australian group?
Yes.
Yeah, and everybody didn't know what in the lyrics they say a Vegemite sandwich. Nobody knew what this was, and it's really a terrible tasting sandwich. But it was Australian, and I think it was around 1980, 81.
Like 81, maybe 83 or 84.
Yeah, so when I think of Australian groups, I think of Men at Work, Olivia Newton-John. Yep. And when I think Australian movies, the original Mad Max. Yes, low budget. I mean, there's Australia out there. They filmed it in the desert,
Surely Australia doesn't look like a Mad Max wasteland, ma'am.
No, it doesn't.
just certain parts. I mean, I guess we could go to Arizona and film Mad Max as well. But thank you for calling. We really appreciate you listening.
Yeah, I think it's in the Outback. That's where they did the filming, in the Outback. But around the coastal line, it's different.
There you go. Get some water out there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a great day.
We got another one in line?
No, that's it.
Let me take a moment here.
Go ahead.
Since we were talking about our shows, you're premiering at 7 o'clock?
7 p.m. this Saturday, July 13th, 7 to 9.
And you're running for 2 hours?
2 hours, 7 to 9 p.m.
And are you focusing mostly on country records?
Yes.
Country,
that's what I grew up
from
on.
the 70s?
70s and 80s.
Okay, so we got Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings in there?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Little Lukenbach, Texas?
Oh, my gosh. This guy knows his stuff, too.
Yeah, I was in Texas, and I was going to stop by Lukenbach just to see, and they told me, don't bother. He just used it for the title of the song. It's a desolate area. But I love the state of Texas. I mean, you're driving through it. It's clean. I hate to say it, but Illinois highways are filthy. I do a lot of driving. You go through, downtown the Dan Ryan. There's mattresses laying there. But you go through so many states, and I do a lot of driving because I don't fly. Oklahoma, you can eat off some of those highways.
Oh, my gosh.
Immaculate clean. You don't see people throwing garbage. I mean, it's sad to say that we have a lot of litter bugs in this state. And St. Louis isn't clean, too. I drove through St. Louis area. Those highways were filthy. But I went through Oklahoma, was immaculate. Texas was in that Fort Worth area.
Yep.
Yeah. So while I got you here, this Saturday on my show at 12 noon, I'm going to start the focus and talk about domestic violence cases. So because, you hear all this weekend, 100 people shot, there's the shooting, but something goes on, and it goes on in Elgin, it goes on in Aurora, it goes on in Chicago, it goes on in Anchorage, Alaska, is domestic violence. We have people that are living together, especially with this heat. Monday I was out in Indiana. I was sitting there having lunch with a couple of policemen, and they had just, in the morning, they had already handled 3 domestic disturbances.
Wow.
Yeah, and, the temperature rises and people's tempers rise, and people are cooped up. And I had a lot of policemen tell me this theory that ever since COVID hit, when people start working from home, now they start getting on each other's nerves, because before, when people went to work and you only saw maybe an hour in the morning getting ready, and they get home for dinner and they have dinner, watch TV, and go to sleep, maybe they're interacting for 3 hours a day. And then on the weekends, they stay together. But now you got these people 24/7, and they're having a bad day on the internet or working from home, and, aggression comes out.
And they have to stay inside with that, too. I mean, because going outside, I would much rather stay in a shaded inside with fans or something like that than be out there in the...
I'd rather, people commute back to work. I know it's time-consuming, sometimes sitting in traffic, but you're out of the house, you're away from each other, you need time away, and here's the thing. When I was a policeman, I left my problems at work. I didn't come home telling them, hey, I handled a double homicide today or a fatal traffic accident. On my way home, I decompressed. That was it. I got home, I'd watch, and we were talking about movie therapy. I'd watch Animal House. That was one of my favorite comedies. No matter how many times I've seen it, Belushi is just magnificent. And the dead horse in the dean's office, it's coming, but it's just hilarious. And the original Airplane, there's another.
Oh, my gosh.
Did I hit a nerve with that one?
Yes, you did. I love that movie. I love the sequel. Airplane, was it Airplane 2?
Airplane 2, the sequel.
Yes.
William Shatner looks through the telescope and he sees the Enterprise.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and you talk about the commute or the travel as well, and a lot of times music and movies are what we take with us when we're traveling on a road trip now or on a plane. Or like you were saying with your commute, if I'm the only person in the car driving, it's usually music or talk radio or something like that. But music will make the time go a lot faster. A lot of times I'll look at the clock and go, okay, well, I'm 5 songs away. What can I do? What can I put on or how can I listen? I'm only about 5 songs away. Let's just go.
So this Saturday, if anybody's had a bad relationship or something that went south or maybe divorce or whatever, you feel like calling in and talking about your life experience or going through the legal system. It's been said that since 1970, the divorce rate in the United States is 50%. But I looked it up, and there's a Forbes magazine article, and according to Forbes, it's at 43%.
Okay.
For first marriages, now people that get married a second time, it skyrockets. It's over 60% divorce rate.
Yeah.
But to me,
because they've already had one.
If it didn't work the first time, why are you getting married again? Been there, done that.
Yeah.
We really don't want to.
Well, so that statistic is one of those statistics that I like to present as like statistics can say anything you really want to. 43% of marriages end in divorce. That means 57% of them end in death.
So that goes back to the thing, why do married men die before their wives?
What's that?
Because they want to.
Oh, ouch.
Hey, the police told me that.
Oh, the police.
Ouch.
Thank you, the Indiana police. They told me that.
So what are you doing on your debut? What are you looking for?
Will you believe it? I do not have a playlist ready.
Oh, goodness.
And I never do because I love to just pick out a CD and go, oh, this song looks good for tonight.
And that's the chain that I was talking about is listening to a song, getting that spark of this is the direction I want my music, my feeling, it is back to that therapy of cooking a feeling and making a vibe.
Now, I'll listen to you Saturday, and I'm sacrificing here because I'm going to have to DVR my Svengoolie. Okay, so you're on at 7.
It.
Huh?
You can well, actually, my show you could listen to later, too, because it'll be on YouTube.
It'll be on the YouTube side.
Oh, you're going to put it on the YouTube? So it's going to be saved.
It depends on if YouTube will let us keep it.
Right. They may not
so
let
live on the AM is the best way to get it.
Okay, so I'm going to listen to you Saturday.
Or on the app. Or on the
do you
app.
already,
It doesn't matter
do you
too much
already have
of music copyrights?
Do you already have a predetermined lineup?
Nope.
Okay, so Waylon Jennings, a little Lukenbach, Texas, sir?
Possibly.
Hey, do you also give the backstories?
I try to when I have it. Like I said, I've got and that was one of the things I was going to bring today, and I didn't. I've got a book. It's Joel somebody. It's basically like an annual where it gives every artist. It gives a little bit of their history. Like I mentioned earlier, John Conley was a mortician before he was a singer, and it gives each song that they did. When the song debuted, how long it stayed on the chart, and what was peak position was. So I do give those details throughout the show.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And, I mentioned earlier, if you guys were in the first hour, I've been doing a lot of, I'll listen to a song and then I'll get a bug in my head and I start not only reading the comments on YouTube, and I like the comments because people put in a lot of personal stuff in there. I read it was a very sad comment that I can't remember the name of the song, but the lady says, I used to dance with my husband to this. He's passed away now 10 years, and I always play it to remember, the memories. And I guess this would affect more us baby boomers than this younger generation because we've, lived so long and we grew up with these songs. and they mean something to us personally. We have a personal contact with a lot of these songs. And I really enjoy doing the backstories. And I this week I got into the Zombies. She's not there. Now, the Zombies originally wrote, Rod Argent, who was a keyboardist, wrote that song in 2 days, and they recorded, and they were 19 years old, these guys. They were English group, and the only common connection is they went to the same school district that are just fate and destiny brought them along. And the guy that was singing it, Colin Blunstone, he's got such a voice. And if you listen to She's Not There, at a certain point, it goes up to almost a shout, the song. And he's the original artist. Years later in the 80s, Carlos Santana redid it. But just to get those backstories is so interesting.
That's it. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here with me.
Yes.
Thank you, callers, for jumping in and asking some questions and bringing up some more of those memories.
Amen.
Just bringing it up from there. So we're going to end with some Roger Miller just to kind of put a little bit of some flavor to the show. CD Showcase that's going to be debuting this Saturday, 7 to 9. And, of course, listen to Four Corners Radio with Bill Pellerinos, where he brings on different experts and talks about different topics with arts and entertainment, law. We've got medical, and then the fourth corner is
food and restaurants.
Food and restaurants. That's the one right there.
That's my favorite.
Thank you all for listening to Out to Lunch. We're going to try to get some more people in for this week. So that way you don't have to just listen to me ramble on and on and on about whatever news topics are happening there. But for more information about the station, go to WRMN 1410, and you can check out the full schedule. Everybody's right there on it. Join us tonight.
And if you want to know a little bit about the history of CD Showcase, check out cdshowcase.com.
And Police Project 1 for Bill Pellerinos, right?
PoliceProject1.com, and I'm on Facebook at Pellerinos Police Project. Follow me, and I'll put announcements about the show.
Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.
Trailers for sale or rent, rooms let 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes.
Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Adrenaline Monkey is located inside the Life Zone 360 building on Route 72 in West Dundee. Release your inner wild child at Adrenaline Monkey. It's the area's highest octane indoor adventure center. Perfect for the whole family, too. Adventurers of all ages can try Ninja Warrior obstacles, rock climbing, vertical adventures, and aerial course. Adrenaline Monkey can also host your organization's team building programs. Half-day and full-day sessions are available. Visit adrenalinemonkeyfun.com/WD.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 2 o'clock.
From New York, this is Democracy Now!
We were by the school gates. I went out to get things for my children when the strike hit. A huge explosion. People were flying in all directions. There were no ambulances. It took about an hour and 40 minutes to arrive, and people were thrown all around. Civilians